Hey, Bills Mafia. We know there's only one topic every day. All Bills, all the time. And now Matt Bove and Sal Capaccio are going really deep, talking Bills all year long, because it's always game day in Buffalo.
Hey, everybody. Welcome into another episode of It's Always Game Day in Buffalo. Sal Capaccio, Matt Bove. We got something a little different for everybody going on today, Matt. I mean, we're going to talk Buffalo Bills, but this episode belongs to the fans, belongs to the listeners.
Yes, we appreciate that. Listen, I think the same thing happens to you. People come up to us and they're like, hey, we listen to the podcast. We love watching you guys, whatever it is. We very much appreciate that. The only reason we're able to do this is because you guys continue to listen and to watch. We wanted to answer a bunch of questions. And also, admittedly, it kind of falls in the perfect time. I think we're about to be really busy for the next month or two, which is fun. There's going to be a lot of stuff to talk about, a lot of stuff to do on this podcast. Right now, we would be listing players that we think the Bills should target in free agency and whatever, but we've already done that. So this one's about answering questions about free agency, about the draft. And the first question I saw was if we have a favorite Muppet. So that's going to also be part of this show.
We're going to answer that question and a bunch more as well. I have some for you, and if you want, you can have some for me, but I've written down a few questions for you, Matt, on this particular episode as well. One of the things that's going on this week, the reason why we're doing this is Matt is super swamped with his with TV, and you have TV shows going on, of course.
Yep.
I am actually leaving tomorrow, Tuesday. So if you're listening to this on Tuesday, whatever, I'm leaving Tuesday morning. So I'm flying down to Florida, and I'm going down there because there's a thing called the Everything Buffalo Party that was created by a guy named Tim Mitten. And I'm going to give Tim a little shout out here because he's created a really cool thing. It's called the Everything Buffalo Party. And our friend Kate Glazer, Hope Rises, her foundation and organization is one of the sponsors and benefits of it, but a lot of them. And what it is these people who live in Sarasota, Florida, Tampa, Florida, down that area, they get together every year now for the all Buffalo stuff. So you're going to have wings from Anchor Bar, Duff's, Elio DiPaolo's, food, beer from up here in Canada, like Labatt coming down. And I'm actually going down to be the MC for this thing this year, which is going to be really cool. It's going to be fun.
You get a trip to Florida in early March. That sounds like a real tough gig. Wow.
And I will be playing golf on Thursday with my friends. Yes.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, it's going to be 25 degrees tomorrow. So that's cool.
But it's going to be close to 70, I think, over the weekend by the time I get back. So anyway, we wanted to get an episode in before I left, and then we get late in the week, and we want to get things going. So I'll start with a question for you related to that. So here I am getting ready to play golf. I haven't played golf in 8 months, right? How do you try to make sure you play indoor range, something like that? Or can you just say, okay, you know what? I'm not playing for the winter. And then I get out there at some point and I play. Cause that's kind of me right now.
Or if there's any sponsors listening that would like to take part in the podcast, I love hitting golf balls with that. No, absolutely not. I am the antithesis of what somebody who is dedicated to golf looks like. I have swung my golf clubs once since September.
Yeah.
And it was for something with Chris Parker and Owen Parker that they do that golf simulator stuff. So it was for that. And that is literally it. I do not have the attention span to hit golf balls. I really have no interest in simulator golf. I think it's very enjoyable. I love doing it. It doesn't fit into the schedule really. And I'm one of those golfers. I know my role. I am good enough to get by, but not dedicated enough to get a little bit better, and I'm totally okay with that. I will pick up my clubs when the weather is nice in April, and my range of I'll score 10 shots higher than I would in the middle of the summer, and then by the middle of the summer, I'll be shooting fairly consistently low 80s. Sometimes I sneak into the 70s, but very infrequently.
I mean, Matt's a really good golfer. For you to say that you don't do anything in the winter like that, is surprising to me. And by the way, you're right. If there's any sponsors like simulators, I'll go. I would love to. I just don't. Jeremy and Joe on our morning show on WGR, they do this a lot. And I'm like, yeah, I'd like to go with you guys at some point. Then I got a radio show and everything like that. So I'm going to be going down there and playing for the first time in 8 months. Okay, one more. I got one more for you, and then we're going to start with some of the fan questions. Said to Yana's my wife, in case people don't know. I said, we're asking fans for questions. Do you have any questions for us? And she said, yes, I'd like to know if Matt and Andrew have any pets. Do they have pets?
Oh, Yeah.
And I said, I don't know if they have pets.
Yes. That's a great question, Yana. Thank you. Now I'm gushing. I have a soon-to-be 6-year-old cockapoo named Harper. Our dog's name is Harper. We love Harper very much. It is very cute that Harper and my daughter are best friends.
I love it.
Ellie follows Harper around the house nonstop every morning. We put in the middle of the night, we put Harper in a crate. She feels more comfortable there. And I open the door to our daughter's room, and Harper comes running into the room and shaking her butt. And Ellie's like, "Good morning, Harper." And it's very, very pure.
I love it.
The reason we're on the cockapoo train is because growing up, my dad had hunting dogs.
Okay.
Very partial to Cocker Spaniels. But my mom had very bad allergies, and cockapoos, so a mixture of a Cocker Spaniel and a poodle, do not shed. So that was the only way of convincing my mom to let our family get a dog growing up. My wife did not have dogs growing up. So that was her way of kind of like, hey,
how big is the cockapoo?
She is 20 pounds, and she is our dog Harper. So her name is Harper. My wife surprised me with Harper and that we were getting her and that her name was going to be Harper. And I like the name, but she is actually named after the author Harper Lee, who wrote To Kill a Mockingbird, because it's my wife's
Max just read last month.
Oh, no kidding.
In 7th grade.
So, sports guy, right? So like when I'm out in the community or whatever, people like to associate me to sports, which is totally fine. But I've had like, "Oh, is your dog named after like Bryce Harper? Are you a like baseball fan?" It's like, well, actually, my dog is named after a American author and literature person, Harper Lee. So here we go.
Well, we think Bernie was named after Bernie Mac because he wasn't named. I always tell everybody Bernie is named after Bernie Williams, and here's Bernie. He is our new dog we got.
That's a beautiful dog.
Several months ago, and I asked how big Harper is. Harper is only 20 pounds. Bernie's already over 70 pounds. He's not even a year old. So way different type of dog. Okay, so
let me ask you a question.
Yeah. If you want, Max said, "Can I bring Bernie up?" If you can, Max, you can bring him up. Go ahead. You're going to try.
Here's my question, and this is going to kind of segue into this nicely. Is there any part of you that enjoys the offseason more than the regular season in the NFL?
Yes. There is a part of me, a good part of me. I'm not saying I like it more overall, but I love to travel, and I get to go to the combine. I get to go to the owners' meetings, and I do get to kind of. I always say to people, it's not like the offseason, the NFL season never stops. There's no real offseason, but I do at a certain point get to kind of just level it down a little bit and, get to spend more time with Max and sports and things like that. So, yeah, from that standpoint, for sure.
I think it's really fun to talk about what could happen as opposed to what has happened.
Yeah.
And I know that's a lot of speculation. And for some people, that's not necessarily what they're interested in. But a lot of the things that we love fall in the offseason. We love the NFL draft. We really love the NFL schedule and talking about the schedule and how it all pieces together. So, yeah, to me, I always get a little melancholy when the season comes to an end because it's like, okay, what happens now, whatever. But then it only takes about a month or so to get back into the swing of things. And I feel like that's the area we're approaching now of just a very fun month for sports fans, but especially in Buffalo, you have the NHL trade deadline coming up at the end of this week. The Sabres are playing great, looking like they're really poised to be in a playoff spot. You have NFL free agency that starts next week. Right after that, you have March Madness. You have the Bandits still in a push. Bison's baseball starts at the end of the month. And, oh, by the way, like the NFL draft is next month. So there's a lot of things that are happening.
Okay, so let's we said that we would get to your questions, and we will do that here. And I have one here, Matt, that I've been asked several times over the last month or so that I have yet to, in any capacity, address publicly or privately. But I will address in some capacity here because I think listeners want to know something. The question comes from Charlie, but he's one of many who've asked me. With the Bills doing the radio broadcast themselves, will you still be the sideline guy or do they bring that in-house? The answer is simply, I don't know yet. And we are working through that, and I hope to be, but things are still to be determined. So that's the best answer I can give everybody. There's a lot of things still that we're talking about, and I'm figuring that out, I guess, with a lot of people who make decisions. So that's where that stands. I have not addressed that publicly or privately with really anybody yet, but I will here because we're answering questions. Is that the best way I can do it? And the only reason I haven't addressed it is because it's just until I know something, I know something.
Yeah, and first off, I commend you for saying something because every time we ask for questions, there's always a question or two mixed in there about that. And, you know, obviously we have our relationship, we talk to each other, we have private conversations, but there's only so much that you know. There's only so much, obviously, I know about it. You're very, very good at what you do. I'm sure they would love to have you back. I hope that you're back because it's something that I truly know you enjoy doing and you're very, very good at. So we'll see how it ultimately plays out. But I do think I'm glad you said something because it is a persistent question.
Yes,
that
it is.
It's asked of like, hey, Sal, what is happening? And then like by default, people ask me
Correct.
and you're just like, I don't really know.
It's like one of those deals. I don't want
grade.
other people having to answer for me, but honestly, to anybody who's asking, hey, this just happened not too long ago. And there's a lot of things still to be determined and are being talked about. And I would love to, of course, new stadium. I love my job. So let's see where it goes. And, you know, when we have more information. So World Jim said, Sal's been asked that several times. He has never addressed it. Well, there you go. I just finally did. Okay. Do you have one that you'd like to pull from the questions?
Yeah, I like this question a lot. And this is from Nick. What moves would make a successful offseason?
Okay.
And what moves or lack of moves would make an unsuccessful offseason? And I think there's two different ways you can approach this. Why don't you handle successful and then I handle unsuccessful?
Okay. Successful to me is you have to upgrade the top end of the wide receiver depth chart, not the bottom end, the top end of the wide receiver chart. I said on WGR with Bulldog on Monday that I think they should take the biggest swing possible for what I said. Go after Justin Jefferson, do it. Like just get the best player you can possibly get to bring into this. Josh Allen's going to be 30 and you've gone as far as you can go right now with doing it the other way. Get somebody in here. And that's how I think that, to me, that's a success. Anything else kind of just goes off that. That's number one success.
Okay. But then let me ask you this, and then I'll say what's not successful. You would say if they go out and they make a couple other splash moves, like real splash moves, they trade for Max Crosby, they do some other stuff. You wouldn't consider that a successful offseason? It's completely predicated on wide receiver?
If they didn't touch receiver, I would not consider it as successful. Sure, that's a successful move. Like, that's good. But to put the whole totality of the offseason successful, you have to address the top end of the wide receiver depth chart to me.
One more follow-up question, because it has been a name that has floated out there a little bit. I also wrote about him on our website, WKBW.com. Romeo Doubs is like one of those players who's not the top end, but he's the next level. Do you think that moves the meter at all, or is that just another version of the players they have signed the last couple of years?
Moves the meter a little bit, but still too close to what they've done. I need more. I need better. I need the best possible player you can get. And by the way, I love A.J. Brown as a player. I don't know if I would love that, because I just think he brings with him a set of circumstances and headaches that I don't know if you want to deal with right now.
Yeah, that's fair. What I would say is an unsuccessful offseason. I agree with you. If they don't address wide receiver, that certainly makes it unsuccessful. I also think that they need to do more than just that. Even if they go and they get a wide receiver, I still don't think that's enough. I think they need to be addressing wide receiver with two names, and one of them can be a trade or a free agent, and the other one can be in the draft. I just think it's really foolish for this team to kind of continue to avoid it, especially in the draft when you need to get younger and you never know what that player is going to turn into. And I know you can say that about any player that's taken. Hey, you got Deion Walker in the 4th round last year. You love that pick. You've gotten some players, Jackson Hawes in the 5th round. You really, really like that one. I just wish they kind of threw more darts at the board when it comes to specifically wide receiver. Like, there are so many examples of guys working out who nobody thought were going to be great NFL players.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the easy one now is Puka Nacua. Like, how is that guy available when teams were taking him? But even look at the Bills roster. The best receiver the Bills have on their roster, they drafted in the 5th round.
Right.
Khalil Shakir.
It's a good draft.
So it's like, hey, maybe throw a couple more darts at the board with wide receiver, and who knows what it turns into. So I would say an unsuccessful offseason means that they missed out on truly addressing the wide receiver position, and it also probably means that they didn't get somebody who I would qualify as an impact edge rusher. I think you need to get somebody who can get after the quarterback, especially with this new system.
Okay, so I'm going back to your question, what you said. So here's the thing. Like, I agree they could use that. I actually have a lot of faith that Jim Leonard's going to bring a different kind of defense that what he does is going to help that in itself. Yes, you could use the players, but I do think the defense that he's going to bring is going to elevate the pass rush as it is already. Ironically, someone named Dion asks us probability of an Ed Oliver and or Deion Dawkins trade.
Not high.
I agree. I don't think either get traded.
I don't think either get traded. I think that we're in a world where Ed Oliver is going to, I mean, Deion Dawkins, of course, is the linchpin of your offensive line. And if you're going to lose Connor McGovern and or David Edwards, I don't feel like you want to have another person heading out the door this offseason. So I don't really see it with Deion, especially because it doesn't like save you a ton of money. The reason a Deion Dawkins conversation is happening is like, hey, is it better to move on from a player a year or two too early and then recoup some sort of asset for that player? But I just think that would open up way too many holes on the offensive line. And Ed Oliver, I know everybody's kind of bitter taste in their mouth because of what happened last season. But when he played, he was very good. Obviously, when he was healthy. You just hope that he's healthy, because if he's healthy, I do think that he is a difference maker on defense.
Backbone asks if we think this year we'll have a return of Bean After Dark. My question is, what qualifies Bean After Dark? What time does Bean After Dark begin?
Okay. This is funny because I have been a big part of the Sabres After Dark movement on social media from over the years. And it was always funny to me because people would be like, every game is after dark when it's early in the fall or whatever. And I was like, okay, first off, it's a way to bring people together. Let's stop being nitpicky. I think it's anything after 8 p.m.
Yep.
Especially as I'm getting a little older, Sal. Like I'm
9 p.m. or later. 9 p.m. or later. I think 8:30 doesn't qualify quite.
I think 8 p.m. counts. Personally, I think 8 p.m. counts. I'm just thinking like I'm not up as late as I once was. You texted me. We were texting about recording last night. I'm going to see when you texted because I think I was already asleep and it wasn't that late.
And I went to bed pretty early last night, to be honest with you.
Let's see here. Oh, no, it wasn't. I'm just getting my times mixed up. So, yeah, it wasn't that late. It was 7 p.m. I was not in bed.
You weren't in bed yet, right? Were you?
I was not in bed by 7 p.m.
You just ignored my text. That's all it was.
That's what well, you know what I was doing, Sal? Honestly, I'll be very straightforward with you here. And I don't know how Mike feels about this. He can chime in if he wants to. So, have you ever followed or cared about Pokemon?
Only in so much as my son is a big card collector and he still has some Pokemon, and he actually sold some Pokemon at a card show this weekend.
Okay.
But he doesn't collect Pokemon like he does regular sports cards.
So the 30-year anniversary of Pokemon was this past week, and they re-released a couple games from 20 years ago, and it was very nostalgic for me. So I don't have very much free time, but I ripped 11 hours of Pokemon on my Switch over the course of Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So the minute our daughter went to bed, my wife went into to the TV and started watching 90 Day Fiance or something. And I'm like, yeah, wow, I'm out on that, but I'm trying to catch them all. So I spent a lot of time this weekend playing Pokemon. So Mike, I don't know if you're a Pokemon guy. Give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down in the bottom.
He is.
He gets it. He gets it.
I thought Max sold some Pokemon cards this weekend. He made some money, and it's just because when he was younger, he collected Pokemon a little bit. Now he's got this really extensive sports card collection, but he still has some Pokemon left over. Okay, so now that you're talking about the things that you do and you did and your wife do, here's another question came from Yana because she was curious about your life, apparently. Because okay, I'll ask you first, then I'll give my commentary on this. Who mostly does the laundry in your house?
Oh, it's a great question. My wife mostly does the laundry. I would say my wife does all of her laundry. She does our daughter's laundry pretty exclusively. And I would say she organizes mine more than I should.
You mean your daughter's laundry is not with your laundry or her laundry? Like you don't do it all together?
No, I think it's as an as-needed thing. So my wife will do her laundry on Saturday. I do mine periodically throughout the course of the week, just when I'm around.
Okay, I will tell you this. We have more laundry in this house than any 3-person family could ever imagine. There's a joke in my house that I change my clothes 3 times a day. And I might actually. I don't know why. But then there's some dog hair and things like that. But even before the dog, it was just I'm always doing laundry. I do laundry all the time, and I pretty much do the laundry in our house, and I'm always doing it. And I just put them all, and it doesn't matter whose it is, and I fold it all, and then I separate, Yana, Max, Sal, and I do the laundry basically, and that's
Okay,
how it works. And I just do it all. I did 3 loads today. I think I did 2 loads yesterday.
I am one of those things that's like a very big pet peeve of mine is when there's anything in the kitchen that isn't straightened up or cleans that drives me crazy. So that's kind of like
Dishwasher, put it away.
That's kind of more my
sink,
domain.
just hanging out.
No,
nope.
that the anxiety that for some reason that provides.
Yes.
If I listen, if I go home and Andrea has had a very long day or whatever, I'm not saying that I need her to do this stuff. I'm just saying the pit that falls in my stomach if I walk into the door and the sink is loaded with stuff of just like, I got to get this out of there. I got to get this to the dishwasher, go or wash it, whatever.
This might be because of the same reason for me, which is I can't start something until I know everything else is organized. You know what I mean? Like I got work to do. I'm like, I can't do it with those dishes in the sink. I just can't. I got to get rid of everything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You might be the same way. Okay. Ryan asks, is it more likely we see the Bills trade up in the first round, assuming a wide receiver falls further than expected? Let's say a wide receiver they like gets to 20 or something like that, or trade back and accumulate picks because they don't have a lot this year.
I think it's more likely that they trade up for a wide receiver in the scenarios that I'll say I think you're monitoring. And this is funny because the name that I do think they could target in a trade is Brian Thomas Jr., who a couple of years ago started to slip a little bit in the draft and kind of came within range of the Bills potentially trading up and getting him. The names I would be watching are Carnell Tate, who I think a lot of people thought was going to be a surefire top 10 pick. Didn't have the most impressive combine week with his tests and measurables. So maybe there's a chance he slides a little bit. Malachi Lemon is another name that I think we need to be paying attention to, because if he starts to slide a little bit, I could see them trying to jump up and get a player like that. I don't think a Denzel Boston is a player that they would need to trade up for unless they absolutely adore the guy. But I mean, Bean has showed us.
I don't think Casey Concepcion would be either.
I don't think that's a player that they need to trade up for. I think that would be if he's available and he's the guy you like the most. It's just we need context clues. And Bean has traded up in the first round more than he has gone out and traded big splashes for, or in this case, traded back, right? Like they traded back for Keon, but they traded up for Dalton Kincaid. They traded up for Kyrie Elam. They traded up in the second round last year for TJ Sanders. So I think a trade up is more likely.
Steve asked, do you have a favorite color?
Blue. How about you?
Me too. I think so. I was trying to figure this out. Like I wear a lot of blue. I wear a lot of navy blue. So that's probably it. That's only because I think about it in those terms. Like I probably have more navy blue than anything. Then Chris asks, favorite Muppet, as you brought up earlier.
Elmo. Easy. Elmo.
Was that always the case, or since you've had a baby and a daughter?
It's Elmo's like a top 5 character of anything ever. Who doesn't like Elmo?
I mean, he's not my favorite because it's easy for me, folks. Here's my favorite. If you're watching on the video side,
I know what you're going to say.
Animal!
It's a good answer.
That's right.
Yeah, it's a good answer. I didn't think you were going to say
Animal right there, and playing the drums. I'm the drummer. You can hear it on the. There we go. Come on, we got Animal. He's playing the drums, but yeah, I was going to recreate that picture on my own electric drum set here.
I thought
maybe for another one I will.
I for some reason thought you were going to say Fozzie Bear, which is a good answer. It's a good answer.
Like
Fozzie Bear is a good character.
No.
Elmo is awesome. And obviously now with a child, she loves Elmo, which is great.
Yes.
Because it's now a reason to be having Elmo around and on more in our household. Yeah, Elmo's awesome. Like I've never met somebody who's like, yeah, I don't like Elmo. Like everybody loves Elmo.
I don't know if I've ever met anybody didn't like Animal. I mean, how can you not like Animal? I mean, Animal's awesome. He's Animal. He's the drummer.
They're different levels of fame, though. Elmo is a superstar. Animal is like a glue guy that the real ones know. But Elmo's probably on the Walk of Fame.
Could be. Maybe all the Muppets are, to be quite honest with you. I don't know, to be honest with you. Matt, I wondered if you were not involved in sports or media in any way. So you can't say like I'd be a news reporter, anchor, or a reality TV show host, something like that, which I would love to do. Or in sports in any way. What would you be doing in your life? What would be your career?
Question. Is golf still too close to sports?
Sports can't.
I was going to give you a different answer. I always thought it would be fascinating to be like a golf course designer.
That is sports to me. That isn't
Okay.
sports.
If
Something that is not, I'll give you mine because I was already this in life. I'd be a
teacher.
teacher.
Yeah.
I was a social studies teacher. I taught American government, American history, economics. It's great. I loved it. But coaching and teaching, but my true passion was radio. And I went back to radio and went from radio to teaching back to radio. And now we do this too. But that's my answer.
I'm gonna give you two answers. And I've thought about this a decent amount. I do think a professor, like at a university or a college, would be cool.
Do you know what you teach?
But I also think that would be tied to the things that I know, which are media related. So that doesn't count. If I had to pick a subject, my favorite class I ever took in college was a history class.
Okay.
I loved it. And I love history. So I think history, some sort of kind of similar to what you said. The other thing that I think about every once in a while is I would love to be a mail carrier, but specifically somebody who has a walking route. That is something I would love.
Okay.
I love just walking. Like I love just how peaceful it is to me.
Perfect.
And even in the cold, even in Buffalo, I think it would be super cool to have a mail route and just.
Did you ever have a paper route when you were younger?
No. And here's the thing. And I'm not trying to, I'm sure there are parts of that job that are unbelievably stressful that I'm just not aware of because I know nothing about the line of work. I just find this job at times is very high stress and high stakes, or at least it is in my head. And every career is probably like that in some way. And sometimes I'm like, man, it would be nice to have a job that maybe didn't make me feel this level of stress every once in a while. And, I'm not, I love what I do. I wouldn't trade it for anything. I'm incredibly grateful. There are just times when it's like, deadlines are deadlines.
Is that the most stressful part of your job? Like the actual job function. I'm not talking about relationships and people. Sometimes we have bosses that make us stressful. I'm asking the job part of your job that you do. Is it the deadlines?
I think the most challenging part about my job, and this is the same for a lot of careers, is that, and I've explained this to people in the past, the two-part answer to this is that sports happen when everybody else is not working so they can enjoy sports. So it takes you out of the picture for a while. Like here's a good example. We have some really, really good friends who wanted to book a camping trip in August to, what is it, Jellystone for the little kids right over the border. And they're like, hey, are you available this weekend? And I'm like, I have no idea. Because it's completely predicated.
I'm the same way. That's right.
It's completely predicated on the schedule of the Buffalo Bills. And I think if you're not in this, sometimes people don't understand. And once again, I don't want to make this sound like I'm complaining at all.
No, but it's tough to explain to people sometimes.
It's just the reality of it. The other thing is that no matter what, you're always kind of working, even, and that sometimes takes a toll on you in a way that you wouldn't expect. Like when I'm done for the day tonight, and I go home, if the Sabres make a trade, I will be once again expected to be doing something. And it just makes you probably on edge a little bit, especially when you think things could happen.
Well, how about this? I have a ringtone on my phone. If you text me, it sounds a certain way. If my wife texts me, it sounds a certain way. I have a separate ringtone for Bills or Sabres alerts.
Yeah.
That way, if it goes off, I got to run to my phone and go, what just happened? I got to know. So I can go talk about it. I can go write a story. I can call somebody, whatever. Yeah, because we have to know. It could be being after dark, right? We don't know when that happens.
No, for sure. Yeah, no, it's just that's just like a little minute. It's whatever. It's all over the place, and it's. I think it honestly probably takes a toll on the people in my life, maybe even more than it takes a toll on me. And like that's like deep and heavy, but it's the reality of it. Just because you're kind of always trying to pay attention to what's going on, and you want to feel like you're on top of things. Like once again, I'm no different that when I get home, even if I'm done working for the day, I'm watching the Sabres. I just professionally feel like I need to know what is going on to be better at my job. So it's like, hey, you want to watch 90 Day Fiance? No, the Devils are in town on a Wednesday or whatever. It's just like, it's just like the reality of it.
We did not get to the question from Eric. And the reason is, Eric, it's just so involved. I have to really think about it. It was,
what's the
your
question?
Options are 50 Hawks, 10 Crocodiles, 3 Brown Bears, 15 Wolves, 1 Hunter, 7 Cape Buffalo, 10,000 Rats, 5 Gorillas, and 4 Lions. You have to pick 2 of those that will defend you while the rest are coming at you to kill you. Which do you pick and why?
Well, I want a lion defending me, and I want a gorilla defending me.
Okay.
Although
so 5 gorillas and 4 lions defending you, but 10,000 rats are coming at you.
See, that's gross.
Right.
But that also means 3 brown bears are coming at you.
Correct. 50 hawks and 10 crocodiles.
This is a great question.
But the gorillas are gonna take care of business, right?
Yeah. Do you remember that stupid internet debate a couple years ago or a couple months ago? It
was something like
could
this.
100 humans beat a gorilla? That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. The answer is no. The answer is absolutely not. And also, what kind of lunatic would you want to be able to go take on you ever seen those things? Like, no chance, dude. They're gonna kill you.
See the video of the one. There was a zoo where the kids were kind of taunting. You know, it's what kids do at the zoo. They taunt the gorillas or whatever, and the one jumped and it broke the glass. Actually, didn't come through. Like the glass broke, but it was really scary. Actually.
No, thank you. I'm totally out on that. So no, that's disgusting. Have you seen the videos of Punch the Monkey? Do you know who that is?
Okay, so I've seen something about Punch the Monkey. I've seen Punch the Monkey written. I really don't know who Punch the Monkey is.
Punch the Monkey was a monkey at a zoo, and Punch was getting made fun of by the other monkeys. So they gave Punch a stuffed animal to be its friend. And now that's what he drags, or she, I don't know what Punch is, but they just drag the monkey around and the stuffed animal. It's very sweet. It's very cute.
Oh, so it didn't like eat it or punch it?
No. It's like
Punch the Monkey is really the name.
Yeah.
Didn't get the name because it did something like punch something, right?
Punch Monkey. It's in Japan.
Have you ever gone skiing?
Yeah.
You ski?
I don't ski. No, I don't ski. It would be an insult to people who ski to say that I've skied or that I ski. I've gone skiing once in my life. My only like real hobby, I guess at this point, I love golf, but it's not like I mentioned at the beginning of the episode. I don't care enough to practice at it. I just love being outside with my friends and being on a golf course. If you told me right now, you have 24 hours to live, how do you want to spend your last day? Part of my last day would be on a golf course with my friends.
I totally get that. I asked because I've never skied in my life. I grew up in Buffalo, New York, never skied, never snowboarded. I mean, grew up and didn't have many means to do things. That's why I didn't like ice skate and play hockey growing up or golf. But we went to a fundraiser, the Après Ski Party fundraiser the other night, and had to dress like we were going to a ski lodge. So luckily I have ski goggles for being on the sidelines.
Oh, there you go.
I actually wore that. So here's the picture. This is my friend Ryan Stang and his wife Mel and my wife Yana and me. And we literally had to dress like we were at a ski lodge.
You look
I think we did okay, right?
Yeah, you did. And I also think that you're just like athletic enough. And also
right.
You have the builds that you would just be able to put skis on and probably be fine.
We're having a good time.
What they tell you is this is how you learn how to ski.
Oh,
pizza and French fries.
Yes.
Pizza is triangle that slows you down. French fries is straight, and then you speed up, and that's how you learn to go and you speed up and everything. So yeah, that's the way that works.
Matt's got to go to a TV show.
Here, I'm going to show you a picture of Harper.
Okay, let me see Harper.
Of Harper. There's Harper.
I love
She's
it.
the best.
Hi, Harper.
I don't know why that's like the picture.
Why are you not smiling with Harper? You're just loving on Harper.
I don't know. I have a lot of pictures of Harper on my phone that are just like really random.
Have you labeled them? If you just type Harper, will that show up?
Yeah, it does.
Because Max did that for me the other day. He labeled Bernie, so he just pointed and hit Bernie. Now every time I touch Bernie, all his pictures show up.
Here's Harper and our daughter, and they just are like absolutely best friends.
I love it.
They're just like are always hanging out with each other.
Love it. See, that's the best. I love that. It's great.
They literally sit at the table with each other. Like this is another one. This is them at the table. My daughter just like sitting there at the table, and then Harper just like sitting there with us.
I love the fact that you guys allow Harper to sit at the table like that.
Well, she doesn't like stay there. She's just kind of like it's more for the picture than anything.
What do you got going on tonight?
Actually, Pat Malcaro was on our show tonight from WGR and then also from the Bisons. We were talking about the Sabres a little bit, and I did a nice little interview with Haley Skamura from USA Hockey from Gettsville. She was great. So we were just talking about what the experience was like. More so, honestly, we're recording this on Monday night, getting ready for Tuesday. Tuesday is going to be a very busy day because of the Vegas Golden Knights in town, the gold medal celebration for Tage Thompson / Jack Eichel, what that looks like. And yeah, it's going to be, I was a little I was at Sabres practice on Monday morning. I was a little bummed because Vegas had an optional morning skate and Jack was not there, which means the only chance to talk to him before the game will now be tomorrow. And I feel like there is definitely a reason to be there. So now that makes tomorrow, but comes with the gig. That's totally fine.
I'll probably be watching the game from the end zone in Englewood, Florida, where some of my friends are. And I said, hey, I'm coming down. Let's go and meet up. So I'll probably be watching it from there. And then later on in the week, we'll be back. And if the Bills make any moves, of course, ahead of free agency, which begins next Monday, we'll bring it to you here on It's Always Game Day in Buffalo. Want to thank our producer, Mike Robier. Thank you all for all the questions. Great questions. And we'll have to do it again sometime. In the meantime, for Matt, at Matt_Bove, for me, Sal Capaccio, at Sal Sports. We'll talk to you next time. It's Always Game Day in Buffalo.